kill me. Show me mercy.
I showed you mercy. What a wonderful day!
Some of us are returning to the city. This gives me an opportunity to say goodbye. You won't be coming back here? You won't be returning to the city. You see, Mr. Thomas, I know all about man. I think his wisdom must walk in hand with his idiocy. He must be belligerent, an animal who gives battle to everything around him. And in the process, he will always destroy himself. Rod Serling's Planet of the Apes Visionaries. I'm Meister Drake. Thanks for tuning in. I know you have many choices of YouTubers for this review of this book. I thank you for tuning in to me. Now, what was my motivation for this? I'm not sure. I guess I would say that mostly because this book was extremely hard to find. Now, I couldn't find it on Amazon. Now, I got this, I looked at this book shortly after I watched Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And I said, this is going to be tricky because I couldn't see it on Amazon, not on Barnes & Noble, not in real life. This book came out in 2018. So about 6 years. So about 6 years before this movie came out. So just after war and 6 years before Kingdom. So it's not friendly with Kingdom, but Kingdom's in the middle of between all this stuff, right? And so I had to really hunt it down. So I hunted it on eBay. I got it for $59.99. Now there are other prices that are way higher. This is the hard copy. This is not the digital version. When I saw it, I said that you had to subscribe to Kindle. I'm like, what the fuck? But then it said $20. So I don't know what the deal is. You have to go through a hassle. I was able to read like the free sample, but I wanted to get the book. So not an easy book to get a hold of. And I guess because I'm one of the latest people to get this book, but that's after watching Kingdom. So let's take a look at some of this. The first major difference you can see is that, and they were Dana Gould. I don't think it's the actor comedian Dana Gould. I think it's, or maybe it is, but it's a writer. Chad Lewis is the artist. The first thing you notice, because of Chad's art, is that this is Thomas and not Taylor. This is kind of based on Paul Newman. He wanted a more heroic guy than Charlton Heston, who was more, I would say you would compare his character to like Popeye Doyle, to like just kind of a very right-wing a-hole type of dude. So this guy is very different. Also, you notice that there's a damn city. There's a damn city in here. So it's not... Rod Serling, who was the original creator of this, the kind of the George Lucas of things. Planet of the Apes, he adapted it from a book. So as far as translating it to a movie, Rod Serling had all these great ideas. And the studio said, nah, we can't afford all that. So you had the Flintstones city, right? The very primitive. Now, if I were me, I would have directed this. I would have probably kept the aesthetics of the city, but made it as complex as this. Like, imagine if the Aztecs, right? The Aztecs were around and like still around today. The Mayans, the Aztecs, they would have these like skyscrapers, but then you would have these like stairways at the bottom. So it'd be like, at the bottom is like a temple, and at the top is like a skyscraper. Like you would have all the designs of the 14th century, no, maybe 16th century Mayan Aztec art. All the gods and then the creatures. You would still have that religion, but it's modern times. So I think it would have been less Roman European and would be a little different. And they said it was the budget. The studios said it was the budget back in the 1960s because he had created all this in 1965. So um, there's a lot to this. So I'll go through some key points. By the way, this is a very yellow book. Even the back is yellow, and it shows you the icon's original vision. So tells you the differences. Already, if you've been a fan of my channel for a while, you know that this reminds you of the Star Wars 74, one of Dark Horse's last stories, and that the original script by George Lucas realized in some form where Han Solo was a green alien and stuff like that. So this that one had a black kind of a tone to it. This has a yellow tone. So I thought that was interesting. And here are the credits. Rod Serling, based on the screenplay, adapted by Dana Gould. What would Rod Serling say? I think Rod Serling would probably been a good sport about probably merging the two things together, what we saw on screen and what he wanted. So this is the ship that I guess Paul Newman, not Charlton Heston, would be in. Or maybe, what's his name? Mark Wahlberg. They'd be on the ship going back home, but they're going back home 2,000 years later. Here's everybody asleep. The ship is going down. One of their own has passed on. Didn't make it, just like in the final movie. They get out of the ship. They're on their way out. They get into a little danger here. Now, I think Dana Gould explained this, or Chad Lewis. They're surrounded by the natives who obviously cannot talk. They're not intelligent. And so, yeah, they've come onto this island. Either they go to swim somewhere. They could always swim and swim away, but they don't do that, of course. They're trapped between the water and the people there who are primitive. And, of course, two of the astronauts don't make it, and the last one does. This is kind of the sad story of Planet of the Apes from 1968. And we get an idea of some of the people and what they're about. This is the first time we get, it's like they're laughing because they can't understand what the hell's going on. But the apes are not coming on horses, but on jeeps and helicopters. So this is not a happy time for any of them. People are dying, and of course Thomas is shot because that prevents him from speaking from most of this screenplay or comic book. So he can't do anything. Here we have Dr. Zira. Remembers her. I remember the actors who were in the original movie were in the remake, so they made her look really good. Yeah, so this is basically Thomas is in prison. A lot of ape guards and everything. This is really neat. So he's in there. He doesn't want to be imprisoned. Yeah, he bleeds out. I can speak, but of course the joke is that they hose down somebody else and then they accidentally wash off the letters. So whatever. It's like one of those things. Can't get off the island. Can't get out of prison. All looks hopeless, but worry not because, of course, he has a way out. As you could tell by the way he's even they know something's not right. Dr. Zayas is a piece of shit, but he doesn't matter. So they're in this complex prison. It's feeding time. He has a plan. So he decides to get in the back of a truck, sneak in there. Now, what I would have done, just to make it ambiguous that the apes are not, because you can't believe that they're that stupid, right? So he sneaks in there, right? But I would have had like a truck pass by, and he would just snuck in there, and it's like, okay, like the truck would have passed by, and then he's gone. Like now you see him, now you don't. That's what I would have done. That's my director's input there. And we do see a pretty girl. We don't know. I don't know if it's the same Nova we see at the end of this. So here he's now looking at the city. This is the city. This is where it all happens. Now, there were some details I liked, but here's what I would have added. On the side of the building, so they would have been like these bricks that would stick out of the building, and they would climb it like a ladder. So because they have these long arms and legs, they would climb these stepping bricks that go up the side of the building. In between the skyscrapers, the monkeys would have been using mechanical vines or some sort of device, so they would just like swing across lines. You would even have that Security guard would say, hands on the mechanical vine at all times. Keep your harness on. Watch your step. Or I think it's both hands on the mechanical vines. Keep your harness on at all times. Watch your step. Something like that. He would just say that to every chimpanzee. But, it's not that advanced, so whatever. But they do have a special crossing, so I thought that was neat. But everywhere you go, it's so different. It's just like the end of the remake. So he's just astounded. Thomas cannot believe what he's seeing. A whole city full of chimpanzees, apes, orangutans, howler monkeys, whatever they are. I don't think I've ever seen a howler monkey or a gibbon as advanced. What happened to those guys? They all think he's part of the circus, so that's a hard one. That looks like Nova's descendant right there. That looks like a Maya. It's kind of sad. Anyway, he gets captured again by the gorillas. They say, "Hey, I recognize him. Yep, he escaped from the lab, and they're raising bloody cane all over it." And of course, this is the iconic part now turned into a, I can speak, I am a civilized man, I am from another planet. So it's done a little bit differently here, of course. There's Zaius, I think. They go to find out that, I'm going to turn the page here. They go to find out that one of the astronauts who got shot, that's all that's left of him, which is really sad. They really screwed up his brain. He can't think anymore. So she tries to explain that man is intelligent, and they always were. They laugh at, I think it's Cornelius. I don't think this is Zira. There's Cornelius and Zira, just like in the original movie. This is where he says no, right? Just like when Caesar says no. And, or when May says no. So this is sort of the applause, right? So this is where things change. Where is he now? Outside. You brought him here? Cornelius, this is not an animal. This is an intelligent, civilized being. This is a man who can utter some intelligent sounds. That's hardly... I want to take him to the front of the Scientific Congress. It would be nothing more than a trained animal act. Let it be that. This is where you see the scale, size, and scope of the whole thing. Dr. Cornelius holds a chair in anthropology and does so with great distinction. He has brought with him today a trained animal. So when one sees this scene here where Thomas explains himself, he does a little juggling, but he also explains himself, and then the people want a piece of him. The apes, the paparazzi, or whatever they are, the media, they want to see him, right? So I guess this is like, Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Immediately I think of Escape, but of course, and this is just like Escape. So I'm not sure, but I think they took some of Rod Serling's ideas from the original script and then threw it into Escape from the Planet of the Apes. I think that's why it was so good. You know what I mean? That's why the first movie and the third movie were worth a damn, because they took a lot of his ideas. Very, very similar. Just watch Escape from the Planet of the Apes and you'll see what I'm talking about. Very similar. This is a good scene here. Doctor, the man has redeemed himself admirably. And Dr. Providence, he spoke when he did. We'd never have known that he was a civilized being, a rational being, that he is our equal. I hope only our equal. He's told us much of Earth, its perennial wars, its violence. God help us if he's our superior. So, I think the way Dana Gould described Dr. Zaius is that he doesn't put himself out there like General Thade or some of the others. Like, he's only evil when he needs to be, and he shows up when he has to show up. The first time we see Thomas in clothes, there is Dr. Zira, and we do get a little look at. This is what they think evolution is. This is the accepted hypothesis. The apes was always in ascendance. Human beings on this planet never progress beyond the most primitive existence. But then you have to question the statue at the end. You know which statue. So why do you kill men here, Zira? This is not by choice, but they reproduce quickly and they travel in bands and steal food. So once or twice a year, we have what we call a weeding out process. That's not cool. Well, whatever. I guess he's part of the weeding out. There's no turkey pardon for this turkey. Now, after a night out that doesn't go exactly well, Nova. So I'm thinking it's Dr. Zira saying Nova and not Thomas, because Thomas wouldn't know who Nova is if he's new to this planet or Earth of the future. As of right now, we're no longer a couple of scared animals off our leashes. Here, put this on. Put this on and be a human being. So that's where the change starts to happen. Now something great happens. This is Nova because now he's civilized her. She talks, she learns. The insurrection has already happened. Sort of going, not exactly the prime directive here, but in reverse, because these primitive people are capable of being more. But because of what happened with Caesar and that viral infection for against all because of Alzheimer's, started a whole planet full of apes. So the humans are learning again, all over again. Now here's an interesting scene because it's a doll, but it's a proof and it's evidence that humans created this. Humans created the doll, but of course, what does Dr. Zayas do? He throws it in the hole. Um, and he feels bad because this is the evidence that they have to show that humans. So this could have been during the time of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes or Caesar's trilogy that this bunker was made because they discovered that the people there, it's not a cemetery, it's a hideout, it's a shelter. So it's evidence that humans were not always stupid. Dr. Zayas wants to hide this, of course. He's no different than General Thade or anybody else. One thing that happens here is that I don't know who he did this to. It's like, tell me about this one. Man in his natural habitat, but to add this, his name was Dodge. They took Dodge and killed him and they stuffed him and put him in a display, much like what people would do with what we would do with animals. You miserable animals, you damn dirty apes. That's where we would stick the line, I think. Because I think, Rod, that's the thing about this movie. It has so many conflicting ideas. But I don't know. I mean, damn dirty apes. I mean, yeah, I think it's something that, you come up with different ideas. Sometimes you take ideas from different people because sometimes you hit a wall. It's like, oh, that doesn't work, or this works better. But there's very little inspiration you get from other people to say, oh, that works too. So yeah, I like that the line could fit in here, but he says this instead. But now it's sad because Thomas is trying to return to his ship because he doesn't belong in Ape City. He doesn't belong anywhere. He can't return to his own time. He doesn't know what else to do. He's had it, and it's like, come with us, give yourself a last chance. We'll try to land you close to your people. So close to Nova. Now he says that I had her removed yesterday morning. She's left the city. She's gone back to her people. So we can only assume she's safe. Because in the end, they kill him, they murder him without any regard, for the statue or anything else. Now, here's what I would have done. Here's what I would have done, okay? I would have done a split ending. I would have split the ending between Nova and Thomas. We would have seen Nova go back to her people, and we would have seen her teach ABCs and 1, 2, 3s or whatever. We would have seen her teach, okay, do it. What I did for you, you do exactly for your people. Because it's like Jeff Goldblum says in Jurassic Park, life always finds a way. And then cinematically, I would have had her turn to the camera and shed a tear. Kind of like, when the Indian cries a tear because of the environment, the landfill. So she cries one tear, but she doesn't know that Thomas is dead. But we can kind of assume that she might know that. It looks like that she knows that Thomas is dead. So it would have been a split ending in that although the main character is dead, life finds a way to continue. So that's how I would have ended it. Now, at the back of this, you have proof of concepts. So there's Nova, and then a little bit of a Maya there in that face. But here you got the soldiers. This is very good stuff. You got the concept of the cover, what the final cover was going to look like, all these different ideas. This is Paulo Rivera who did the cover. So I thought this was very good. And that's it for this book. There's a little bit more. little bit of like behind the scenes of what they were trying to do, progress, the reveal of Ape City. There's the reveal. So that's it. I mean, this book was worth it. It was $20 back in 2018, but because I didn't know about this book till a couple of weeks ago, it took me a while. Now, here's how I would have done the final chapter. This is kind of the final chapter, but here's how I would have done this, okay? This is Maestro Drake's Redemption of the Planet of the Apes. So maybe you would have another generation of humans in a sleeper ship, much like the Botany Bay. They would be traveling around, and they get picked up. They get discovered by an orbiting space city that's run by apes. After a battle of man versus ape, the apes reject the astronauts and put them on Earth, where they find a resistance of intelligent men, women, and apes working together. But they're sort of the rebellion, right? Like Star Wars, right? The Rebel Alliance. And much like Romeo and Juliet, as sure you can figure out. Wait, did I need to see this? You would see a hybrid, like a human Z, but they'd probably be they wouldn't be Vinny Vinesauce cringe of levels. They would probably be much prettier than this, a little more photogenic, like children. You'd see like what's going on here? Like, I guess the explanation is since the apes have evolved, their sperm or egg could be compatible with humans. So that's sort of the dumb explanation. It probably wouldn't really work in real life, but whatever. It's for the dramas. So after a long and bloody battle between the apes and the humans with spaceships or lasers or whatever, they signed the treaty between humans and man. Everybody's going to work together as best they can. But there's a little irony ending. Of course, it's Planet of the Apes. There has to be an ironic ending of some kind. An ape scientist, similar to Dr. Zaius or Dr. Zira, comes up with a formula, some sort of formula to give apes superpowers. Maybe they can fly, or they can vibrate through walls. They have X-ray vision or heat vision or whatever. They find a way to be superior to humans by having more power. Other than their upper body strength, they could fly through the air, leap 1/8 of a mile, faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive. And so they put away this serum to test on humans another day. And then the scientist says, I only hope this will not backfire on us. So if I had to grade this book, what will I give the Rod Serling's Planet of the Apes? I'll give it an A. So I'm just going to post one short for tonight. And I'll give it an A+. So it really is that good. It is $20 on Kindle. If you have Kindle as a monthly service, you can already read it for free. Otherwise, you'll have to pay the $20. Or you can go on eBay and try to pay whatever you want to pay for a hardcover. So I'm just going to do one more short, and I'll do the creator perspective vlog tomorrow in the morning or afternoon.